So you want to hang record albums on the wall in a way that looks nice without spending an arm and a leg. Well, friend, I heard your cries for help, and I'm going to show you how to get a real professional look for just a couple of bucks per record. DeMille's behind the camera. Let's get started. Behold, friends, this is what appears to be a wall. I say appears because this is actually an elaborate set we constructed on the MervServ soundstage. Hired a set designer and built it and everything, so as to illustrate for you an easy way to hang records. But I need you to accept it as though it is a wall. Okay, what we're shooting for is something that looks like this. A collection of your most treasured albums, perfectly spaced, and easy to remove and put back in case you want to play one. Here's everything you'll need. 2 types of command products, the wire hook type and the sturdier stainless steel tab hooks. Check out the product links below to get them at a great price, by the way. I'm going to attach them in a certain way, though, for record albums. You'll need a level, a ruler, a yardstick, or tape measure, and a numbered 2 pencil. Now, the command products are built to hang tight, so I'm not worried about my Jim Croce albums or nothing. And the unattractive part of these command hooks will actually be hidden behind the record itself. So only the shiny metal parts will be seen, and I've found that they actually blend in nicely because they sort of reflect the colors of the album like a chameleon. I'll be using this 24-inch level, and it's got a ruler on it, but yours doesn't have to be as fancy as mine as long as you can use yours well, because this has to be a level project from beginning to end. So we're going to start by drawing a nice level line here and check your bubble, make sure she's level. And a record, by the way, in my case, it's a 33 RPM LP. Those measure 12 1/4 inches. Yours might be different. Maybe you're putting up 45s or whatever, but the principle's the same. I'm going to draw a line that's pretty long. We're only going to use, by the way, 12 1/4 inches of it. Now, I'm simply going to show you how to do a single record for now, but in my secret lab, I concocted a measurement formula. 17 over the prime directive of the fractional wind speed. And I'll show it to you in case you're thinking about multiple records, like in that double row example I showed you. Swooping into the picture, a nice Westcott ruler. If they were sponsoring me, I'd really talk this ruler up. But, use whatever you want. And there's nothing cooler than hanging records on the wall, so if you're wearing head protection like I am, you're going to want to spin it around backwards to look like a hipster. So we're going to make a mark at 2 inches and then at 10 1/4 inches. Man, I'm parched after all that work. DeMille, put up that illustration while I catch my breath, would you? All right, so here's how you plan your space. Every record is 12 1/4 inches across. By making a mark at 2 inches and 10 1/4 inches, that's going to help the album look centered on the hardware, because each command hook will be 2 inches from either side of the record. And don't worry if you're off by a little, because these supports really blend in well from a distance, and as long as they're level, well, that's the most important part, to be level. Now, I think it looks good with 2 inches between the albums, so in the case of 4 records, the entire length will be 12 1/4 inches across, times 4. Which is 49 inches. Plus, you got 3 gaps, in this case with the 4 records, you got 3 gaps, 2 inches each. That's 2 times 3, so you got a grand total 49 plus 6 is 55 inches. In that case, the marks for our bottom supports will go at 2 inches, 10 1/4, 16 1/4, 24 and a half, 30 and a half, 38 and 3/4, 44 and 3/4, and 53. And with all that arithmeticery behind us, next comes the fun part. All right, so with our marks in place, we just hang the command strips according to the directions. And, of course, the lawyers are overly cautious, so I got to tell you, I'm wearing 6 pair of gloves, and peeling these things is ludicrous. And
Do not take off the gloves!
I'm wearing 14 pair of safety glasses and a protective athletic cup made out of Kevlar. DeMille, get this thing started for me, would you? All right, here's the important part. With that backing off, there's still another cover over the front of the thing, and you want to line up the bottom of that with your pencil line. Then you peel it off so the bottom of the plastic mount will also line up with your pencil mark. This is important to make things level. And then you got your 2 bottom hooks in place right there. The next thing you're going to want to do is fetch your Jim Croce record with your ruler at the top of it, running from 0 to 12 1/4 over here. You're going to place her centered on those 2 hooks you just mounted. Don't bear down. There's no need to bear down on it. And you're going to measure to make a center mark for the top support, which in our case is half a 12 1/4. So we're going to make a mark at 6 1/8. There. And we're going to drag a nice light line across the top. So we got kind of an upside down T shape there. DeMille, you getting what I done here?
Yeah.
And then from here you can measure up a little bit and draw a line about a 1/4 inch higher than the top of that record. And the reason is because these top ones that go down over the record are deep, so you got a little wiggle room here, and you don't want them too snug up against the record because that'll make it hard to slide in and out. So here's how I made that extra mark. And this one's going to end up sitting right about there with the top of it on that top line. Which I'm not going to waste your time showing you how to mount the adhesive strip on this. The instructions are on the package. It's intuitive. It's easy. And once you get this one in place, I would just say don't freak out if it's not perfectly level or if it's a teeny bit higher or lower than you wanted. Its only purpose is to hold your Jim Croce album, or I suppose Johnny Cash, so that top part of the record won't tilt forward and fall off the wall. Now, these down here, these are critical. You want to make sure these are absolutely level. So if you're hanging more than one record, strike yourself a nice, long, perfectly level, very light pencil mark against the wall, as long as you need it to be. Like I showed you earlier, bearing in mind that you're going to position everything accordingly depending on how much space you want between the records. So the final configuration for one record is going to look like that. 2 at the bottom and 1 at the top. And then you just slide your album into place. And this also works with a double album, by the way. Now, you could use the stainless steel ones on top and bottom, but they're more expensive, and your mounting costs will shoot up to about $4 per album, plus the smaller hooks are thinner, so they don't show up as much. And if you're thinking about using those bottom ones on the top, well, here's why you shouldn't. You see, they're floppy. They're not as sturdy. Good for the bottom, but not for holding in the top. So you can see how nice it looks if you put another Jim Croce up there. And I mean, your music, that's your own personal preference, might be Coldplay. But I think the 2-inch gap looks good, on the sides and on the bottom or the top. You can configure them however you think. So the bottom ones, you can get them for about $6.50 for a 9-pack. That's like 70 cents each. And get the white or the transparent. It doesn't matter because you'll never see the plastic part anyway. And the stainless steel top ones are $10 for an 8-pack. So that's like $1.25 a piece. Total cost $2.65 per record. Hope this helps you. This is Merv, and I'll see you next time. If you like these learning videos, be sure to share the living daylights out of them. It could boost our search results. And that might help somebody just like you who's searching for some secret DIY information.